What's up, everyone? James and Ben here for OddsChecker. We're going to be previewing the last UFC card of the year. Holidays right around the corner. Got the Christmas sweater on. UFC Vegas 66 going down in Vegas. And we're going to start first in the middleweight division. We've got a fight between Cody Brundage and Michelle Oleksiejczuk. And right now, Brundage is the big underdog at plus 235. The favorite is Michelle Oleksiejczuk, minus 280, almost minus 300 on this line. Ben, which way are you going here?
I think at the end of the day, I'm going to go Oleksiejczuk. He's got brutal power, man. And especially coming down from light heavyweight, I think that was a good move for him, assuming he can make the cuts. I mean, like, assuming he can come in on weight and, make that. His last time out against Sam Alvey, definitely a good way to get into the division because, I mean, while it was a finish, it wasn't necessarily the most impressive win over Sam Alvey. He's now cut. But still, I think the move down will be good for him in the long term. Just want to make sure he can make the weight and all that kind of stuff because that power should transfer, and he has a lot of it. He has a lot of power. I think at the end of the day, that's how he beats Cody Brundage. Of course, if he can get around that wrestling from Cody Brundage, I think at the end of the day, he's just going to be the way better striker. He hits harder. If he can keep this on the feet, I think that first round is going to be critical. If Brundage lands a takedown early, it could go his way. He could get it done as an underdog, but I'm not going to take Oleksiejczuk on the money line. Too much juice. I'll probably take his inside the distance or knockout prop. I just think his power is going to be too much here.
I'm going the other way. I like Cody Brundage here. A couple of things I wanted to mention. Cody Brundage, very familiar with the opponent. Brundage actually cornered Dustin Jacoby when Jacoby beat Oleksiejczuk at light heavyweight. So there's that. There's the other part is that, Brundage sort of knew he was going to fight at this time. I had a chance to speak to him before this fight. And, it's not like he's getting off the couch and taking this matchup. He is going in there and, fully prepared to get it done. And you look at Oleksiejczuk, you mentioned his last couple of fights. Sam Alvey, Shamil, who's not a great fighter at light heavyweight, and I thought he lost to Modestas Bukauskas. I get the striking of Oleksiejczuk, but I think Brundage, he's really coming into his own, coming off a really nice win himself. He's really found his footing in the weight class, and I think these odds are totally off here. Like, again, I think Brundage at plus 235 is an absolute steal here, and I'm going to pick him, and I'm going to take him here at plus money. I could not. This should be more of a pick him in my opinion. And I think Brundage has some serious value here at plus 235. I know a lot of people are going with Oleksiejczuk. I'm going the other way. I'm taking Cody Brundage for the upset. So it's going to be my first underdog pick of this card. Okay. Next fight, we're going to look at Drew Dober, Bobby Green. And right now on OddsChecker, you'll see Drew Dober a slight favorite here at minus 150. Bobby Green around plus 130 around there. Who you like in here?
Frankly, I feel like this fight should be a pick 'em. That's kind of what it feels like in my mind. Does that mean I'm going to pick Green? Probably not. I don't have a strong lean either way. This is tough because on the one end you have Dober, who, I mean, his striking has come a long way. He was more kind of like the volume guy. Didn't have the most technical striking game. He's landed like 5 knockout wins in his last 5 wins. I know he's taking 2 losses in between there, but I mean, even the losses, Islam Makhachev, one of them. Can't necessarily blame him for that one. Tough fight, but I mean, the hands that he's shown, while at the same time, I mean, what is this? His 18th or 19th, I think, UFC fight, and he has yet to be knocked out in the UFC. That is what I think will be key here, is his chin holding up. Because, I mean, if this goes to a decision, that's the best chance, I think, for Dober winning, even though he does have those knockouts. I don't think he's going to finish Bobby Green, and vice versa. I don't really see Bobby Green finishing him. And Green has been on the wrong end of a lot of decisions. He's kind of known for taking those decisions close. He loses close ones. Sometimes he wins close ones, but I really think Dober's power, landing the bigger shots in this fight, will end up getting him the win. But I mean, we've seen some crazy things recently with judging. So I think this is really a toss-up. Because if it goes to the scorecards, I don't know what the judges are going to favor. At this point, I don't even know what to think about judging. And I don't know if they'll favor his Dober's power or Green's counter-striking, landing more shots. I don't know at the end of the day. I think this fight is closer than the odds suggest. But just for the pick's sake, I'll take Dober, I guess.
That's exactly how I feel here too. This is a risky fight, I think, for both guys. Dober, like I mentioned, does have like you mentioned, I should say, has the power advantage, but Green's tough to finish. The easy play here, guys, and I know it kind of bit us last week with some of these totals, but the over is only minus 175. I think that's a steal here. You're right. Bobby Green, tough to finish. Now, Bobby Green does have a couple finishes, right? He finished out Quinta, but Quinta pretty much retired at this point. And I know Dober has been finished before, but I think this fight absolutely goes the distance. So I will be playing the over. I will be playing the fight goes the distance. I think Dober does edge this one out, but just in case, just play that. I really don't see a finish either way in this fight. It's only 3 rounds. Yeah, that's the play here. I cannot believe the line is this low. I know we're almost getting 2-1 odds, but still, I expected it to be much higher here. So the pick is going to be Drew Dober by decision to get it done in a very close fight. Okay, next fight we're going to look at here is Alex Caceres and Julian Erosa. And right now on OddsChecker, you'll see Julian Erosa, a bit of a favorite here, almost 2-1, -170. Come back from Caceres, +145. Who you liking here?
This is a fight I will have more fun watching than betting. It's kind of like the last fight for me where I think it's more of a toss-up ×10. Both great scramblers. Erosa, he's got good striking. Caceres, he's got wild striking. I mean, he's a fun guy to watch fight. I think this is going to be a really fun one to watch as a fan. I don't know if I can pick a fighter on this because Erosa, he loves to hit hard. He hits well, but at the same time, he's gotten his chin cracked. His last 3 of his last 4 losses actually are by knockout. I know those were some hard hitters. And Caceres, I know he's not a knockout threat. He's kind of more the volume, the wild striking. He wins on the scorecards more. But I mean, Erosa's chin, it is something that can be cracked. If he hits him with a wild strike, catches him with his hands low, which Erosa tends to do, because of his head movement and movement, he keeps his hands low at sometimes. He could get cracked. I could see it. I know Caceres isn't that knockout threat. On the other end, I mean, if Erosa scrambles and grapples here, I think either guy could really win this fight on the mat or on the feet. It's too much of a toss-up for me to make a pick. If anything, I'll take Caceres just because he's the underdog, getting plus money, but way too close to call for me. I'm just going to watch this one as a fan.
I feel the exact same way. Very risky fight. The problem with Caceres is he beats guys that he should beat. And we see the winning streak here, Kevin Kroon, Austin Springer, Chase Hooper, Steven Peterson. The problem is a lot of these guys are, especially in the case of Springer and Kroon, they're not even in the UFC anymore. He's got a great ground game. We've seen a lot of submission wins here. But the problem is which Caceres is going to show up? I remember that fight against Gon Wang, which yes, he lost by a split decision, but that's a fight he should have probably won. Erosa has really found his footing. 3 straight wins. That last one over Hakeem Dawodu, extremely impressive here. But I'm with you. I'm staying away from this fight. I give a slight edge to Erosa just because I do think the momentum's a little bit more on his side in terms of who he's beat and what he's been doing. But yeah, no bet for me in this fight. I thought maybe Erosa inside the distance, but you look at it here, Caceres, even some of his losses here, like Sodiq Youssef, these are not finishes. So pick's going to be Erosa, but I'm staying far away from this fight personally.
Yeah.
Okay, next fight we are going to look at here is in the flyweight division. We've got Amir Albazi taking on Alessandro Costa. And right now on OddsChecker, you'll see Albazi, the biggest favorite on the card, almost 5-1 here. The comeback from Costa, who's making his debut, +330. Who are you liking here?
No surprise here for me. It doesn't really take a genius. I'm going to take Albazi. I just think that Costa coming in on this fight on short notice is going to really, it's going to be tough for him because I think he's going to welcome Albazi in the mat, and that's going to be a big mistake for him. Amir, obviously both are pretty good on the mat, but I just think Amir's, especially, I know he wasn't preparing for this exact opponent, but he's a grappler by nature. And although they both are, he has the advantage on the mat. I think he's just going to find the submission early in the first round here. His submission line is +130 right now. I could almost guarantee, I would bet money that line closes with juice before we get to Saturday night here. I just think that Costa is going to be too willing to go to the ground, and it's just going to play against him in this fight, especially taking on short notice. I know he's probably confident in himself as a grappler, and he definitely could be a good prospect, but this is a tough fight. It's a tough fight for him. And I think the line is pretty much spot on. So no surprise for me.
I didn't know it was plus money. I like that a lot because you see Albazi finishing a lot of his fights here. Yeah, this is it's kind of a waste of time. I hate to say it. Maybe Costa wins. Everyone's got a chance, right? But, didn't look that great on Contender Series. Nowhere near the level of opposition that they fought. And Albazi, there's a few guys at flyweight that I think you need to keep an eye on. Albazi's one of them. He's an up-and-comer. He's been making a lot of noise here. I think he finishes Costa. So I would even play the submission and even just the inside the distance just to bring that down a little bit. But the pick 100% is going to be Amir Albazi. Okay, next fight. This is a really tough one here. Arman Tsarukyan, Damir Ismagulov. And right now we have Arman Tsarukyan, the slight favorite. Actually, the line's gone up a bit. I see now he's almost 2-1. It was a bit closer before, but yeah, almost 2-1 for Arman Tsarukyan to come back on Ismagulov, +160. Who are you liking here?
I think I'll eat the juice on Tsarukyan. He fights with such physicality. He's going to fight for your money every time. And I know he lost against Makhachev, but he probably gave him one of the best fights we've seen in a while, even though he's been unbeaten. And I can't get away from the fact that his physicality plays such a factor in his fights. It makes a big difference in some fights, especially from the judges, because you look at who they're going to favor. In fact, they're going to favor the guy who is pushing the pace. And well, you would think so, like we were talking about the UFC judging, but it's a tough fight for both guys. But at the end of the day, I think Tsarukyan gets it done just based on his physicality. If he can push the pace on Ismagulov, that's definitely going to factor him here, which I think he can do.
Yeah, I'm right with you there. I think Arman won his last fight against Mateusz Gamrot. It was extremely close. He's 26 years old. Like, he just turned 26 in October. So he's a pretty young fighter here. Ismagulov a little bit older. And on the flip side, I thought Ismagulov lost his last fight to Gorem. So Ismagulov's dangerous. This is definitely not an easy fight for Arman Tsarukyan. But I just think there's so much potential here. And I'm glad you brought up the Islam fight, because you look at who Islam's finishing, like Drew Dober, who we just talked about earlier, Bobby Green. For Tsarukyan to take that fight on short notice and go the distance, that's a badge of honor. And you look at some of the guys he's beat in between there. I think he knocked out Joel Alvarez a fight prior to the Gamrot fight. This guy is just he's just an amazing fighter here, and I'm a big believer in him. I think he's one of the guys that's going to fight for a title here soon, and it starts here with Damir Ismagulov. So I'm going to go Arman. The question is, does he finish? I may take the decision prop just because Arman, has he's fighting a guy in Ismagulov is very durable. If you look at the fight goes the distance prop -225, not getting a lot there, but if you go if you look at sort of the winner there, Arman Tsarukyan, you can get a decent price here on Arman by decision as well. So the pick's gonna be Arman by decision, but would not surprise me either if he finishes Ismagulov, because I do think he's that good. But either way, the pick, we both agree here, is gonna be Arman Tsarukyan. Okay, here's your thoughts on the main event here. We've got Jared Cannonier and Sean Strickland. The line it's kind of gone back and forth here, but right now, Sean Strickland a slight favorite, -115, -110 over Cannonier. Who are you picking?
The only reason I'm taking Strickland is because I do believe that if Cannonier wins, which is definitely possible, it's going to be by knockout, which is definitely possible. But the only reason I'm going to take Strickland is because if it does go to the scorecards, and it's 5 rounds, so it's a long time. You're betting on 25 minutes here. I just think that if it goes to the scorecards, it's going to be Strickland's fight, because that's kind of how you have seen Cannonier lose. I mean, he did beat Kelvin Gastelum by decision. But when you look at Cannonier's losses, he's not an easy fight. His losses are to Israel Adesanya, Robert Whittaker, Dominic Reyes, Jan Blachowicz, Glover Teixeira. That's his last 5 losses. That is quite the resume to have your losses against. And he's had quite an interesting career, because, he was even at heavyweight, dropped down to light heavyweight. Now he's down to middleweight. That power at middleweight is something that can literally knock out anyone in the division. So he's a very hard guy to bet against. And we just saw Strickland get knocked out. Granted, that was from Alex Pereira, the current champ, and he was caught by that clean left hook. And his last 2 losses actually are by knockout. So it's definitely possible to finish Strickland. It's not the easiest thing in the world. He's pretty tough. But I just think if Strickland survives, that striking from him will rack up points, while Cannonier will be hitting harder, definitely live for the knockout. It's a really tough fight, but I think at the end of the day, if it does go to the scorecards, I'm gonna hope that it's Strickland, because that's what I'm picking.
Yeah, I see it. I'm going the other way here. I think the fact you're getting Jared Cannonier at plus money, one of the hardest hitters in the division, and we got a guy in Strickland who his last fight thought it was a good idea to strike and trade with a glory kickboxer, right? Like, if Strickland had tried to take the fight to the ground, who knows how that fight would have gone, honestly, because we didn't even see Adesanya really take Pereira to the ground. I just think Strickland's too wild of a guy and he's too prideful to try and do that with Jared, because I do think that's a better path to victory here. But like you mentioned there, Cannonier can knock you out. Jared Cannonier is one of the few guys to knock out Jack Hermanson. He did that. Remember, Hermanson looked like he was on his way to a title shot. Jared goes in there and knocks him out. The Robert Whittaker fight, I know he lost that, but he was injured in that fight and still went 5 rounds, and Whittaker couldn't finish him. So again, that's very encouraging as well. Derek Brunson, he was not looking good early in that fight against Derek Brunson, came back and knocked him out here. To me, it's the power. I know he's 38. That's kind of the concern, is like, when are we going to see that decline here? but I don't think it's this fight. It's 5 rounds. I think, again, like who knows who that favors. I know Strickland has some 5-round experience, but so does Jared, right? You went 5 rounds with Israel Adesanya, who wasn't able to finish him either here. I like Cannonier here. I like him by knockout. I think he does it. I think, again, Strickland has looked great, but you look at some of his wins. For example, I think the only good win he's had is Hermanson, and that was a unanimous. Shouldn't have been split, but Uriah Hall retired, Jocko not in the UFC, Brendan Allen outside the top 15, Jack Marshman. There's a lot of different ways you can look at Strickland's career because he has looked good, but not the same competition as Cannonier. The fact that you're getting Cannonier at plus money, I have to take him here, and I'm also going to take him by knockout as well. Could Strickland go out there and win a decision being the younger guy? Absolutely. I'm not naive to that. So maybe I play Strickland by decision and Cannonier by knockout, get a little creative there. But I just think you have 5 rounds to knock Sean Strickland out, as wild as he is. I think Jared does it. So going Cannonier by knockout.
Because, I mean, if Strickland comes out like he did against Pereira, like you said, something very important there. He just didn't take that fight to the ground. He probably could have, and he should have. But like you said, his pride, maybe it was his pride. I don't know. But he decided to strike with him. It cost him at the end of the day. I think it's the same thing in this fight. If he just stays on the feet, if he gets in those wild exchanges with Cannonier, he's going to go down. Like, he's going to get knocked out one way or another. So I definitely agree on that front. So if anything, I'd say like Cannonier by KO, Strickland by decision would be a pretty good middle for this fight, because that's how I see it going, one of those 2 ways.
All right, everyone, enjoy the card this weekend. We'll be back in the new year. The UFC's off for like a month, but just, for myself, I just want to thank everyone for tuning into these breakdowns. We do them every week for every UFC card. I hope you guys have a great, awesome holiday, whatever you're doing. And come tune into us next year. We'll be back doing the breakdowns, and hope everyone has a great holiday. And more importantly, cash those bets this weekend. Thanks so much for watching.